self-help is the name of the game. And what that really means, and that's a term that not many people are familiar with, but the oilfield service business has historically kind of gone like this. And note that I'm basically moving up and down with all the cycles, but ultimately I'm starting at the bottom and moving to the top. I think a lot of people are really focused on the oilfield service business might go a little bit more like this going forward. And you're not going to be saved by just the market or the rising tide lifting all ships like it had for maybe about the past 15 years. And so if that's the world that you're going to live in, and you're a leader in that world of a company and trying to set strategy around it, it really means that you need to do whatever you can do to control your own destiny and not wait for the market to save you. And I think we're seeing that across the board, from the largest oilfield service businesses all the way down to the smallest. And Conquest is right in the midst of that. Number two, big thing that everybody's really focused in on is, will oil production in the U.S. finally start to roll over? If you take a step back and you think about what's going on in the oil and gas world, and in particular in the lower 48 in the oil and gas world, the real fundamental problem is we produce more oil around the globe than there is demand for it. So I think what everybody in the world is watching is to see, when will this heroic growth that we've had in U.S. oil production start to turn from less heroic to modest growth and ultimately to a decline. So a lot of people are saying that 2020 is the year when you'll start to see that growth really start to compress quite a bit, in 2021 when the world will turn from a growth in oil to a decline. So it's something that we're going to really focus in on. The next one, major theme for 2020 that I'll be a little quicker on, the rise of digital. So it said, leader be left behind. What's that really mean? That's partially tied into this whole self-help type strategy, in that what people are trying to do is not use brute force going forward in order to accomplish an objective. They're basically saying, hey, we can be a lot smarter about this. The big picture is we can do more with less. That's what all of the oil and gas companies are focused in on, is using technology to make better business decisions, better technological decisions. And then in turn, the oilfield service businesses are doing it as well. Point 4, and this is kind of an E&P theme that I'll try to extrapolate down to oilfield services. So it's really around capital discipline and being really smart about where you place your capital expenditure bets. Everybody is really focused on trying not to spend growth capital expenditures in a world where it's not growing, where we need to basically have less competition out there, fewer assets competing for a smaller pie. So I'd say that's what we're witnessing. Started with the oil and gas companies spending a lot less CapEx to drill and complete wells, and now it's kind of repositioned into the oilfield service businesses, spending a whole lot less money on new assets and new equipment. Tied to what I just mentioned about how we have too many assets chasing like a smaller pie, you have too many companies chasing a smaller pie as well too. So I'd say we hope to see mergers and acquisitions create fewer competitors in the business that are better competitors, that don't compete on price, that more so compete on service quality or technology or differentiation, because we can win that game. It's hard to compete on price when you're trying to be the safest in the business, when you're trying to add new technology, when you're adding new equipment. So for us, we want to get to a world where more folks can have M&A. And then the last thing that I'll kind of point on will be kind of linked to a lot of the other stuff that we've talked about. It's the continued industrialization of the E&P business. So I'd say as the operators are seeking every avenue to, in effect, manufacture hydrocarbons for the lowest cost possible, we as service providers that are part of that overall cost need to constantly be focused on ways that we can, you hear this term overused, but add value to our customers by allowing them to produce more oil and gas at a lower cost. As the best coiled tubing company in the United States, a title that we hold today and a title that we continue to aspire to hold in the future, we can't just sit on our laurels while all of these changes are taking place. We got to be a leader. We've got to be a leader in some of these areas around self-help, around technology, around industrialization, and we'll let some of the other stuff kind of happen around us, whether it's the M&A or businesses failing or competition doing other things. I think that's how we'll continue to maintain our success in this business and going forward.